Alright, so I just realized that when making these videos, it gives me a few like seconds, like 5 seconds or so, when I started talking right away. So sorry about that. It used to give me a countdown and it doesn't do that anymore, so I thought I needed to start. So let's go ahead and finish these. This is the U-try, and you can multiply by the conjugate, and if you do, you won't have that negative in the denominator. So I'm going to show you. Instead of just 3i over 3i, you know we said multiply by the conjugate? Well, the conjugate's changing the imaginary part from positive to negative or negative to positive. So instead of just 3i, if I do the negative 3i, watch what happens. I'm going to end up 3 times 14, 30, 42. Negative 42i over negative 9i squared. Now the negative 9i squared, this is negative 1, so that becomes negative 42i over positive 9. Now, if you want to put this in your calculator, I happen to recognize that if I do n 42 over 9, that it's going to simplify to 14 thirds. So this is 14i over 3, and it is negative. I don't want to lose this negative. Okay, there's that one. All right, let's do this one. So this one I'm going to multiply by, it's not just going to be equals, it's going to be times 1 plus 2i over 1 plus 2i. Now in this one, the top is very easy to do. I just have to distribute the 4 to both pieces. So I get 4 plus 8i, and then over. Now, guys, if you do this again, you're going to notice what happens. Look here at this one. Do you see how this became? Oh my word, I just caught a mistake on my last problem. Let's fix it, because some of you are sitting there going, she's crazy. 4 times 4 is 16. This should be a plus 16. Yeah, don't ask me how I did this. The mind of a dyslexic. It's scary. Okay, and it's late. So adding that, I'm going to get 41 in the denominator, which totally changes this. Let's fix them both. That becomes 41 and 41. Yeah, I just caught my mistake by going, look back up here, this is really cool. It's this piece squared, and it's this piece squared, and because one's negative, one's positive, this always comes out positive because I times I is I squared, which is negative 1. Okay? If you happen to notice that, you may be able to do this. 1 squared is 1, plus 2 times 2 is 4. And you're like, what? That is the biggest cheat. I'm going to show you why it works out that way. All over 5. I cannot reduce this, so I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to come over here to the side just to prove my work. I'm going to have a 1 plus 2i, 1 minus 2i, 1 times 1, 2i, negative 2i. Oh, imagine that, they cancel. And 2 times 2 is 4, I squared. I squared is negative 1. Negative times negative is positive. 1 plus 4 is 5. Just exactly like I said. Okay? And you can't see the other side of that. There it is. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. Using the rule of the conjugate, 3 times 5 plus 5 times 6, that would have been a negative, minus 30i squared, all over negative 25i squared. Now, This is a negative 1. This is a negative 1. I believe I left out an I here. I sure did. That should have been an I. My bad. But we caught it. So negative 30 times negative 1 is positive 30 minus 15i, all over positive 25. Guys, I see a 5, 5, and a 5. You may do V cancelization, or you can pull out the 5, 6 minus 3i, and pull out a 5 in the denominator. Those cancel. There's your answer. If you did V cancelization, you could say, oh, I see that 5 will go into all of these. So that's 6, 3, and 5. So the final answer is 6 minus 3i over 5. The end. Doesn't matter to me how you want to do it. There's two ways. If you don't do a V cancelization and you do a one-sided, it's no longer V cancelization. You have a plus or minus on the top. Cannot be one-sided. Okay? Now, let's look at the last one. Number 4. I'm going to multiply by 5 minus I and 5 minus I. And you can do a box or you can do FOIL. I haven't done FOIL in a while, so let's do FOIL. Negative 2 times both pieces. Positive 2, excuse me. 10 minus 2i. And then I'm just going to change colors so you can see the other one going on. Negative 4 times both of these is minus 20i plus 4i squared, all over. I'm going to take my shortcut. 5 times 5 is 25 minus 1i squared, which is going to be negative 1. Okay? And then I'm going to simplify up here. I'm going to change color so you can see it. This becomes negative 1. So I'm negative 4. Well, I squared is negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. So negative 4 and 10 make 6 minus 22i squared. All over, this is minus a negative 1, which becomes plus 1, 26. I see a factor of 2. Now, if you like V cancelization, reduce everything by 2. 6 reduced by 2 is 3. 22 reduced by 2 is 11. Oh, ho, ho, and there's an I missing and an I squared. What's going on? This should not be an I squared. It was I plus I, not I times I. I am tired, guys. I apologize. This should be an I. And then this should be a 13. So the final answer, 3 minus 11i over 13. If you prefer to factor out a 2, you could have gone 2 times 3 minus 11i over 2 times 13 will give you 26. Those cancel. See? Same answer. All right. I hope that's helpful.